Some teenage drivers in Louisiana do have curfews. So there's a couple of different tiers for the license types for teenage drivers in Louisiana, and so some of them have curfews. When I was a teen, I remember being out with a friend one night. We were running an errand for his parents, and we were at a gas station, and he got ticketed for being out past curfew. And this was back in the early 2000s, so or maybe even late 90s. But anyway, I dated myself. So yeah, there are rules to it. Driver's permits always need to be accompanied by an adult who's over 21 years of age and a family member. And so there's not really a curfew on that. With the intermediate license, the one that you can get at 17, minors are not, or people who hold this license are not allowed to be driving after 11 p.m. and until 5 a.m. in the morning. And the reasoning for this, and it's a little bit stricter, and that's every day of the week. And so if you have someone else in the car with you and you have an intermediate license, then it's a bigger problem, and you need to, you can't drive anyone in the car with you after 6 p.m. and until 5 a.m. unless you're accompanied by an adult who's 21 years of older. So they're doing that in order to keep a lot of distraction out of the young driver's hands. And then if you have a full Class E license, then there are no restrictions on your driving, with the exception of certain parishes have their own rules. And so Jefferson Parish has a rule that has a year-round curfew on 17 and under, prohibiting them from driving on the weekend or on the weekdays from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then it's midnight and 5 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays. So yeah, New Orleans has a summer-only curfew that's very similar, 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. The problem is, you know, that's very hard to enforce in New Orleans, and you know, you see minors out all the time, and they're not really getting picked up for juvenile curfew rules. So again, there are rules in place in Louisiana. Enforcement is always an issue, but you do want to make sure that your teen knows these rules. And if they're 18 years old or older, they don't really have to worry about that. But if they're 16 or 17 and they have a certain type of license, then they may need to be worried about curfew laws and rules. And so again, that can come back and ping on the parent as well. So you want to make sure that your kids are following by the rules. And there's certain exceptions to it that I don't want to necessarily go into here, but exceptions for work and worship and things like that. So again, Seth Smiley from the Smiley Law Firm. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment or DM me. And again, this is another episode of the Parents of Teen Drivers Facebook group. Thank you.